good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Uh, if you can't tell my speech is yawning. For me, it is night, like late at night, actually 10 minutes before midnight. But anyways, I digress. So this is my review and thoughts on Ready Player One. When I saw it this afternoon, uh, took a couple little detours to before getting to watch this before doing this video. I actually just finished watching Thor Ragnarok again, along with Collider Video's commentary, which was always fun and interesting to do. But like I said, we're here to talk about the movie of this book. So I'm going to just give just my overall thoughts of the movie in as coherent a form as I can. Just random, short term thoughts after watching it. And like I said, plus it's 12 at night. So, excuse me if they're not extremely coherent. And then I'm going to do a couple my thoughts as far as it in comparison to this. So, first of all, Ready Player One, the movie. What did I think? I liked the movie. I did. I mean, for what it was, I thought it was a really good movie. Whereas I know for myself, well, not really myself reading it, but I know there were a lot of people who commented that they're afraid that the movie, because the book relies so much on its '80s nostalgia and everything, that it would be lost on some of today's audience. I mean, of course, many of the adults are, like myself, a child of the '80s, you know, or '90s or whatnot. But then again, there's a generation that weren't born yet, so some of the stuff retro is cool and all, but wouldn't know a lot of it, and hence why I can understand adoption changes were made, and of course inclusion of some '90s things, which is cool in itself. But anyway, so overall, like I said, I'd say it's a good movie, solid movie. I would give it a B. The pacing, I think, was done very well for what it was. Like I said, took a lot of the ideas from here and had to cram them down into, and I kind of wish that it was, even though it's the book is nowhere near the size of the tome of it, which necessitates two parts. Well, even the miniseries back in the day was two parts. I wish that they could have extended it, either made the movie a little bit longer cut, or I mean, if there could have been a whole other movie. Honestly, I think if they had wanted to, actually, as I'm talking, let me look this up quickly. Let's see, the runtime for Ready Player One. Okay, 2 hours and 20 minutes, which, like I said, it went by pretty quickly. As far as that time, I don't think there was ever a point where I was really bored. And again, like I said, now seeing as I've read the book and I was kind of looking for certain things, I kind of knew the pace that it could go. Maybe that's why, but just in general, I mean, I think it went pretty good, and there weren't like any really lulls or I think useless things. Now there are some things, as I'll talk about, that I think I wish could have been more faithful. But again, when you're dealing with something like Ready Player One, so many references to so many things. I know you have things like rights issues and yada 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 there. But I mean, for what it was, I think it was good. Like I said, I think a 3 hour cut would have been really good, because give a little more meat to it if there was such a thing, Or again, even two movies, if they had made like this movie 90 minutes or even 2 hours, I think they could have done another hour and a half, possibly, or like I said, if it made it 90, and then take uh, what was here and add another little bit, like I said, to make a total, again, 3-hour movie. But again, I digress. So, I mean, I like the performances. Ty Sheridan as Parzival, as Wade. I think he did a good job. So, of course, the actress who played Artemis, H. It was interesting seeing their portrayal of Shoto and crap, died. But yeah, I mean, it was like everyone was okay. I guess that's the best way I can put it. Nothing that was, extremely stellar, I would say. But, again, it is what it is, because they're, it's a movie to be entertaining, and it's got a lot of, like I said, it had a lot of ground to cover. Um, So I would definitely, it's something I would definitely recommend someone, whether you have read the book or not, to go see, because it is a fun ride. Um, Sorry, hold on one second. But yeah. So I guess spoilers or not spoilers, the only way I can really, as a fan of the book, go into this more is to talk about things in comparison to the book itself. But and Dido, okay, I was right. And again, I understand it's an adaptation, so, and Ernest Cline put his 2 cents in it as well, I believe, for the screenplay. So there's that. Um, so for anyone who has not read the book, there are going to be a lot of spoilers in this book. I mean, spoilers concerning the movie, but I guess if you're watching this as well, I'm hoping you've watched the movie as well, because we're getting into some kind of spoiler territory here. But again, it's a spoiler for the movie. If it was in the book and not in the movie, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. All right. So one thing I loved about the book is, again, other than just the chock full of references and whatnot, um, is it is full of adventure and different types. As you'll see in the movie, of course, there's the main core, you know, the contest by Halliday to find this Easter egg, the 3 keys, um, and, tasks to find the keys. And, of course, that's still in the movie, because that's the core, and that's why I still say this is a good movie, even though it's a bit of a departure from the book. But where in the book, then, you have, and again, the actual things contest, or the games, if you will, to actually get the key were all completely different, except for the last one, which is, again, I understand. Like I said, adaptation is whatever, but the fact that there's a challenge to find each of the keys, but in the book, then there's also the challenge of the gate, something to actually do. Again, like, whereas in the movie you have the grand race, which no one can beat, because Kong's there and everything, and they realize you drive backwards, go backwards, and you get to it. I mean, that part of it, that was a little anticlimactic, but still, it's okay. It was a fun, scene, and of course, the whole first try for Parzival and Artemis racing through was NH, or was really cool. Whereas, in the book, we'll start from the beginning of the book. Basically, Wade's introduced. They introduce the fact that, with the way the world is, that there is the school system in the Oasis now. And I thought it would have been nice if they had touched on that at least just a little bit, at least just kind of a mention. Again, he's just a geeky school kid and everything. Yes, he's in the Stax' terrible situation with his aunt and her string of boyfriends and whatnot, but he still has to go to school, and which is in the Oasis, and of course that sets things up for the first trial or puzzle is the Dungeon of Terror, which is on Ludus, the skull planet. So they completely swap that out for the race, which like I said, is cool in itself. But imagining that kind of adventure, I think would have been cool. Like I said, more of obviously because that's a module from D&D. Get some D&D flavor in there. But then after that, there's the first gate, which I believe was the reenactment of War Games. Yes, again, I know a movie which no one but an '80s child or a complete nostalgia buff would even know. I think it was War Games. Yeah, and so I understand that not being in there, but it would have been nice, I think, if there was a little more of a challenge in there. Then misplacement of some things. Of course, there was the offer by Sorrento about The Office, which that came a little later in the movie, if I remember right. Again, I just saw it and already it's kind of like me. But but that whole thing, and the just seeing a little more of the relationship between Parsifal and H, and then into Artemis. It was for what we had in our movie. I think it was done really good. Of course, compressed and quick, but it would have been nice to see more elements of that than the second trial in the book was, like I said, based on a game. I think it was Zork. Where he goes to a planet, and that was another thing that I thought would have that. Of course, they locked in the movie that I thought would have been really awesome for the book if they had the multiple planets, multiple destinations. Like I said, even if it were just quick little glances that touched on that. But again, I get it. But anyways, in the book goes to where there's the abandoned house or the place long neglected. And then searching in there for the items for the trophy to get the key, and then having the second trial. Whereas in the movie, there's the whole Shining thing, which I thought was really cool. I did like that. For again, Parsifal, all of them part of it. Parsifal, Artemis, H, Shoto, which I believe they just said show again, Shoto and Daito. Going into it. And of course, you see the ball roll and hit H, and know what's coming. They're the twins. It's like, come and play with us. It was so cool and awesome. The whole part about, again, Kira being the key, and the whole little dance sequence with the zombies was like, I could have done without that, or I think it could have been better served. Like I said, if it were something like in the house, which I understand the hotel from The Shining was the substitute for that, and then going further into that, but and then of course the complete switch from the source material as far as thinking that Parsifal was gone, or he had been hiding out. So in the book, he after he's amassed some of this wealth from his fame, and of course being one of the the high five, he kind of goes into hiding. Gets his own place and all that stuff. The awesome rigs, and then his plan to solve the problem of the third key, which, like I said, the last part, I think, stayed really true to the book in the sense of, Castle Anorak and the shield, and all that. But so, he creates another persona for himself or switches personas with someone else, puts himself into debt, so he'll be taken to one of the centers, so he's on the inside of IOI, and they kind of just switched that with Artemis. I mean, it was it was okay, I guess, like I said, but still, I just wish I had felt that weight that you sense a little more in the book. And as far as Artemis, actually, I'm going to say the fact that we meet Artemis early on, and again, I guess the whole thing, a movie to foster their relationship a little more, and the whole rebellion thing is, to me, it felt kind of weird. And like I said, now if I'd never read the book, then granted, then that probably would have seemed just fine. Again, maybe a little quick, a little forced, in my opinion. But I mean, it was done nicely, and it was nice to see them together. I mean, I thought they had, nice chemistry. Again, Ty Sheridan as Parsifal and Olivia Cook as Artemis, who is beautiful. That's a side little note. But yeah. Oh, and as I'm looking at their IMDb for 1 second, just you can recognize from the voice. Anyone who saw Deadpool would know this the voice immediately. When you see T.J. Miller as IROC, who of course is in the book, but different. It's just funny. His comedy, his little comedy flair to to IROC, and his relationship with Sorrento and everything. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, that whole section kind of switching it up between the characters and everything. I mean, I guess it was okay. It just, I don't know. I didn't feel the sense of urgency, I guess, that I would have wanted from something like that. And the grand battle on Planet Doom. I mean, it was really cool, though just extremely quick, flashy, and I mean it was nice to see. I wish we would have had a couple more static shots of the characters we know and love, from the Battletoads to when they threw Chucky out as a weapon. That was funny. But again, as we see in saw in the trailers, you see Tracer from Overwatch for a minute, and various other characters. But like I said, they're all so quick. And again, you have that many people, that many characters. I kind of understand that. I Like I said, as far as the battle itself, it was cool and everything, but again, the way that it's described in the book, and again, this is in my imagination, or whoever read its imagination, as opposed to what Steven Spielberg decided to actually put on screen. And again, those rights issues. I didn't mind the Iron Giant, of course. Seeing it as one of his properties he easy got. And I understand that, again, not many, especially younger, would know who Ultraman is, who Parzival turns to in the book, whereas the original Gundam is who Daito turns to during the fight in there, which was cool. Like I said, I liked seeing the RX Gundam. And I'm so glad that Sorrento did have Mechagodzilla. That was freaking awesome. But like I said, I mean, the fact that each of them had a different robot, in the book, because it was a prize from something, it would have been cool to see. But again, I understand rights and time, all that. Speaking of, but Shoto or Sho and Daito, I'm still not quite sure how to feel about. Okay, in the book, Daito was killed by IOI. Again, spoiler alert. As far as the book is concerned, which is a great read. Some might think it's a little simplistic, but I still say it's a great read. After, of course, Sorrento, finds out Wade's identity, has the stacks blown up, and, after, various things, they, think he's disappeared and all that stuff. And of course Samantha, Artemis, they're, they got the information on all of them, of course. And, but Daito is the first actual casualty. Again, that feeling of weight, how ruthless that IOI is. I mean, they're evil and they're corrupt in the movie, but and until um, Sorrento has the gun at the end, he's well. I'm not gonna say till the end because you also have his gal pal Friday. I'll call her that. That you get the feeling of ruthlessness. Finale. Okay. Um, but the fact that they track down Daito and kill him, orchestrate, make it look like a suicide, for crying out loud, shows you just how serious and the stakes that this company is willing to go through. And the fact that they didn't allude to anything like that, and they kept them alive till the end. I mean, again, it was okay for the story. Nice, happy ending, a bow around everything. But it took something away, I think, from the story, and again, from the stakes of it all. But again, for what the ending, for what it was cool to see, like I said, to see the Serenity from Firefly fly in, and then Daito, jump out of that using the artifact to turn into the Gundam, and then hit battle with Mechagodzilla again, which again was cool. And then getting to the final gate, which similar to the book, was adventure. The final game and the secret of the hidden key. At the first Easter egg, which ended up being the developer's name in it. I mean, that was all cool. The final scene with Anorak, that was cool. Which I'll have to look in the book again. I don't remember him actually turning into James Halliday. Maybe he did. But I mean, yeah, that was all nice and special and everything, and but I don't know. Again, always books are better than it, and it is an adaptation. I get that, which again, I give it a B, a solid movie for what it was. I just wish I had seen more of those themes stretched out. Or again, this is freaking still Steven Spielberg. Even if there were issues with all these rights and everything, I understand that. I mean, I think he could have done so much more an amazing job. Not saying that, okay, I know anything like Steven Spielberg, he could have done a better job. I mean, I just think the way that the movie flowed could have been better. And again, for what it is, a lot of things which allude to his legacy, the T-Rex going through town and this and that. This could have been, again, it's a 2-hour plus movie that went really quickly. It could have, I think, easily been 3 hours with given a little more meat to it, and still would have flown by. Or like I said, from the grand tradition of the series, especially YA adaptions, Harry Potter, Hunger Games. What was the plan for the Divergent series, where they made those last books into 2 parts? Now, granted, again, they were huge books, and Ready Player One's nowhere not like that, but still, they were able to spread the story out into 2. I'm not say great, but both for Harry Potter and I would say Twilight, decent, good to great movies for what they were, and Hollywood terms, milk it for all it was worth. And I think they could have done something like that for Ready Player One. They really could have. Now, I've heard Ernest Cline is going to make Ready Player 2, a second book, a sequel to it. So that would be interesting to see how that goes. But, yeah. I mean, like I said, overall, great movie. I would recommend anyone to see it. It's a nice, fun ride. Read the book if you haven't read the book. I mean, especially if you do like the movie, read the book. There are some vast differences, but they are good differences. And as a side note, as Alan Silvestri, made the score, it was it was so cool. Every now and then, to hear those little nods to the Back to the Future soundtrack, like the or and there's another set of notes, like three chords that from the Back to the Future soundtrack that are immediately noticeable. That a couple times through the movie and through the credits, you hear them, and it's just like So, but anyways, that is my rambling review slash reaction to the Ready Player One movie, which again it ended up being a, I guess, book review slash movie review. But as always, thanks for watching. Always feel free to subscribe, share, like. Hopefully, don't like those dislikes. And leave comments. If you've seen Ready Player One as well, let me know what you thought. Whether you just saw the movie itself, whether you read the book first and then saw the movie, or you know, maybe even though the movie's still fairly new, maybe by the time you watch this, vice versa, you saw the movie and then read the book first. Let me know what you thought. As always, appreciate it.